Because Jim Lee can't seem to keep a deadline to save his life, the roots of old school Image run strong I guess, DC Comics decided to start a completely different run of Batman, coexisting with the Jeff Loeb Jim Lee Hush 2 story. This run is helmed by Matt Fraction and Jorge Jimenez, a personal favourite artist of mine. The first issue of the Fraction Jimenez run was a strong opening. Seeing Batman attempt to bring in an escaped Killer Croc, we were introduced to Dr. Zeller, a new character currently working at Arkham seeking to rehabilitate supervillains. She asks Batman to please bring Killer Croc in peacefully, which he does, even having a very short but poignant conversation with Killer Croc about whether only bad people do bad things. In this first issue, we see Batman treated as a human rather than the Bat God that some writers make him out to be. The first issue also contains some very telling details about Gotham, like an advert for women's fashionable body armor. The first issue from Fraction and Jimenez is very promising, and now we're 7 issues in. The 7th issue of the Fraction Jimenez run has been widely discussed since it came out. Even I hopped onto social media to show off some images. But with this extra attention on the 7th issue, I find myself asking a single question. Am I enjoying this run? For context, I've been buying the Batman issues each month since Fraction took over, and this wasn't because I had high hopes for Fraction, though I've enjoyed his work in the past. Instead, as shallow as it sounds, I bought them because a certain variant cover was by Julian Tedesco Totino, an artist whose work I fell in love with when he was doing regular variant covers for Philip Kennedy Johnson's Action Comics run. I try to keep the amount of issues I buy each month to a minimum. Granted, I buy monthly issues not just for myself, but for my mother and my partner in the superhero project. My criteria for buying issues for myself are this. 1. Is it Superman related? Seems a little shallow, but I love Superman. I want to keep up with what's going on, so I tend to pick up Action Comics, Superman World's Finest, and currently Superman Unlimited. 2. Is it by a creator I really want to support? There's a list of creators whose work I will go out of my way to support, either because they're creators whose work I really enjoy, or are friends that I want to see succeed. And 3, finally, is it something that genuinely seems to interest me? Pretty straightforward, does it look interesting? This is how I came to read stories like Regarding the Matter of Oswald's Body and Hairball. With Batman, he's a character I tend to read in collected editions, with the only 2 recent exceptions being Philip Kennedy Johnson's Batman and Robin and Ram V's Detective Comics. From that, I hope you get a good idea of what I was thinking going into Fraction and Jimenez's Batman. I had no expectations. I just wanted to read this comic I'd spent money on. Since Tedesco's variant covers for the series ended at issue 6, the 7th was the first one I brought because of the issue itself. But to understand why I still wanted to pick up issue 7, let's go through what's happened so far. Issue 1 I briefly discussed in the opening, but a few minor things I didn't bring up are the glorious colours of Tomeo Mori, who really brings Jimenez's artwork out and makes it pop. From a plot perspective, there is also this form of Alfred that appears occasionally talking to Batman. With the apparition of Alfred and a comment from Killer Croc asking if Batman might be the one who needs help, it seems like Fraction is setting up a run that lets Batman truly deal with the passing of Alfred. I'd already seen Damian's response to the death of Alfred, and given he was the one who witnessed it, he did take it very hard. We saw Dick Grayson deal with it in Taylor's run, especially with using the money he'd inherited from Alfred to build something better. But with Batman, it feels like we do need a real reaction to this. With the first issue, it felt like this was something we would see more of. The second issue focuses more on Tim Drake as Robin and his relationship with Batman. We see flashbacks to Tim being taught how to drive by Bruce, with it being mirrored in the present day where Tim must now get Batman home safe after a dangerous patrol. We do see a little more of the police being very divided on whether or not Batman is a benefit to them, and on top of that, we see the beginning of the police framing Batman for a murder. The third issue starts with a kid recording some footage when he captures proof that the police framed Batman. The injuries Tim received in the second issue put him briefly in hospital. His boyfriend comes to see him, and it's revealed that Tim has been telling Bernard that the reason he gets all these injuries is because of, quote, boys' weekends with Bruce. In this case, ice extreme skiing. This naturally puts Bernard and Bruce at odds. Back home, Bruce and Damien are training, with Bruce trying to convince Damien to consider going to university early since he's been accepted. And we see another apparition of Alfred, this time as a response to Damien kicking Bruce, and Bruce asking this apparition if he was this much trouble when he was young. It's a funny moment, but again highlights that Bruce needs someone to talk to. In issue 4, Bruce Wayne and Dr. Zeller come face to face, with Zeller initially being too busy to even realize she's talking to Bruce Wayne. There's a somewhat amusing note about Dr. Zeller mistaking Bruce asking her out for dinner as a date. A new villain is briefly shown, the Minotaur, who seems a lot like the designer from Tinian's Batman run. Issue 5 is a fantastic showcase of Jorge Jimenez's artwork, with some great car chase scenes, fights through the city and on rooftops. It's all taking place while Bruce and Dr. Zeller are trying to go to dinner, the issue culminating in Bruce needing to fight an assassin, only to be saved by Damien as Robin. Perfectly normal, except that Robin refers to Bruce as father in front of Dr. Zeller. This is a moment where I genuinely felt like it was a forced plot point meant to contrive some form of drama. 2 issues ago, Bruce was telling Damien about how smart he is, and he shouldn't waste his time just thinking about always being an assassin. Damien is very intelligent. We've seen him keeping track of his father's schedule and reminding Tim and the others that when they're on patrol, you can't let your guard down. So in this one case, where he likely knows that his father is taking a possible business partner out to dinner and can physically see that he's not in his Batman costume, and can probably assume that he's protecting Dr. Zeller, who's probably nearby, he still slips up and calls him father. As a fan of Damien, this felt like a big character mistake. One that feels worse when you consider the conversation between Bruce and Damien was only 2 issues ago, and in universe was less than a day ago. Issue 6 begins with Dr. Zeller and Bruce discussing that Robin just called him father. Dr. Zeller makes a comment that she's surprised Bruce hasn't been reported to Batman for child endangerment, a comment that feels very forced since she's been around both Bruce and Batman, had just made comments in the previous issue about Bruce's fighting abilities, and now knows that Robin is Bruce's son. It doesn't take a genius to put 2 and 2 together, and that's not even considering the money aspect of being Batman. The rest of the issue shows Damien apologizing to Bruce for the slip-up, Tim Drake deciding to take a step back from being a Robin to spend time with Bernard, and Dr. Zeller revealing to the reader that one of her patients is the Joker. This reveal is what made people excited for issue 7, as it's teased that Batman will come and see Joker again. Not only that, we see Joker looking very different from how we saw him last. He's floating in a tank with Dr. Zeller's device attached to his head. His body appears somewhat bloated and unlike his usual slender self. The conversation between Dr. Zeller and Joker hints that Joker knows that Bruce and Batman are the same person, though even saying that, is this really a big surprise to us, the reader? It always seems unclear whether the Joker knows that Bruce Wayne and Batman are the same person. Sometimes he does, sometimes he doesn't. In addition to this, his appearance is a complete mystery. The last time in the comics we saw Joker was in the DC KO event, where he's made part Parademon. Even then, the logic we see in DC KO implies that Joker would return to his original form when it's over. There is no explanation of how Joker looks like this, unless this is a spoiler to Hush 2 that we haven't seen yet. Finally, with issue 7, we get the big Joker issue, one where we see how Dr. Zeller's treatment has been going, as well as seeing Batman come face to face with Joker. As a standalone issue, it's fine. It's a masterclass in terms of Jimenez's artwork, an incredible fold-out piece in the center of the issue, a great sense of pacing and staging. It's beautiful. But in terms of the actual plot, it's more setup. The fact that Joker is in direct contact with Dr. Zeller, the mystery behind Zeller's motives, whether or not Joker's sudden change can be trusted, the setup that's been happening through all 7 of these issues, it's unclear what it's leading to. Elements seem to be introduced and then dropped without any hint that it's worth remembering. If we consider how this will be read when released in collected editions, just those first 6 issues would be contained in Volume 1. If I asked myself honestly if I would be satisfied reading that collected Volume 1, honestly, I don't think I would be. I don't think I am now. Yes, the stuff with Joker is somewhat interesting, but I have questions that are more related to continuity rather than the story. With the Robin's characterizations, they feel somewhat off, especially with Damien. Thinking about each of the issues individually and as a whole, I don't know if I'm enjoying reading this. I'm not sure if I want to continue buying the issues each month. or just go back to reading the collected editions. From a fan mindset, I know that Batman always sells, that in the grand scheme of things, if I stop buying the issues, it's not a major blow to DC's profit. It's money that could go to a series doing much lower numbers, but is more enjoyable. At the same time, it is Batman. Am I wrong for expecting more from a Batman run? The title of this video is probably something like, I'm conflicted over the current Batman run, or something like that. I had hoped that while writing this, while trying to explain my feelings towards each issue, I would come to some consensus. That I'd be able to say, yes, I'm going to continue picking it up month to month. Maybe I'd decide if I want to go back to collecting the trades and hardcovers. But I honestly do not know how I feel about this run. I think, and it pains me to say this, when I take out the fact that I do really love Jimenez's art, this run so far has left me somewhat apathetic. I keep a comics diary, one where I note down what issues I'm reading and my immediate thoughts on that issue. And it's been very helpful if I'm reading something long running, and especially if I can't remember something that I was curious about before, I'll go back, check the entry, and see what my notes said. But reading my past entries about these issues, I still feel as disconnected from it as I did before. What do you think? Have you been reading the issues? Do you like them? Am I missing something massively important? Let me know, and till next time.